Welcome to the Sleon Productions podcast, a special podcast today. We're talking about WordPress 5.5, which was released this past week. A couple of major updates to this WordPress core. We had a special about a couple of months ago. We had another WordPress dev guy, and many of you would ask, what is WordPress? WordPress is a free and open source content management system that handles blogs and websites. Over 35% of the web is used by WordPress. It's only growing. So if you go into a website, it could be WordPress. This
Yeah,
major release
I think we
was
are 38 or 37% right now. So
exactly. And our special guest is Mr. Justin
I,
Ahinon. He is from Benin, Africa. He's part of the WordPress core that updates this WordPress core every so often, every couple of months. Justin, welcome to the podcast.
thanks for having me.
So, Justin, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your involvement with WordPress?
Great. So I'm Justin, and yeah, I live in Benin, West Africa, where I work from home like full time now. So I've been like developing with WordPress for 3, 4 years. And yeah, I start like almost everybody with WordPress that discovered WordPress as a simple user. So by just creating blog, by crafting existing themes or existing templates. And then I start really being interested in everything that's WordPress community. And yeah, when I just start digging about the WordPress community, I discovered that I can like contribute to WordPress and give back to the project. So that's how I just start contributing. So I think 2 years or 2 years and a half ago. And yeah, so I basically start by translating WordPress into French because my native language or the official language of the country where I live is French. So I just start translating WordPress core in some plugins in French. So it was pretty cool to do something like that at that time. And with time passing, I just started being more involved in other teams of what make more WordPress. So I've been doing a lot of work with documentation team. When Gutenberg started and there was a need to write a lot of documentation for new features or new things that in Gutenberg. So I did some stuff around Gutenberg at that time and finally found myself in WordPress core that I really love. Like I really loved contribute to WordPress core, and yeah, till now I'm contributing to WordPress core. And a few weeks ago, I joined the WordPress core team at Yoast ACO, and yeah, so right now I'm just like full time contributing to WordPress and try to make it better. So yeah.
Comment allez-vous?
Très bien, très bien. Your French
Piti
is pretty
piti.
good actually. Yeah.
Petit petit français. I learned a little bit of French. It's a beautiful language, tough. You gotta have the accent right and everything, but it's a very proper language, like they say
Yeah,
in
people
France.
say that.
So the update 5.5 happened this past week. A couple of major things like this, adding like the height map, which is something that you had to do where you had to add some other plugins to make that happen. Tell us about this update and tell us about that specific feature with like the whole XML sitemap feature.
Great. So I think the sitemap, the idea of having the sitemap in WordPress core was around since many years. So because that's a very important feature for search engine or ranking like correctly in search engines as Google. But yeah, till now it was not really supported by core. So there was an idea and discussions around it. So basically now with WordPress 5.5, there's a default sitemap that is included. That means that when you have WordPress 5.5, with no SEO plugins or plugins like that installed. You have a native sitemap. When you open your website, let's say example.com/sitemaps.xml, you have the default sitemap of WordPress. So this is a very big feature because while SEO plugins are very popular right now, there are still a lot of people or a lot of websites that are not using SEO plugins. And sitemap is a very, let's say, basic feature for search engine to correctly crawl your website and then understand the structure of your website. So it's a very important, let's say, functionality. And personally, I'm very happy to see it land in WordPress core. And yeah, and there have been a lot of people dedicating a lot of efforts to make this happen. And it's good to see things like that land in WordPress core.
Yeah, because before you had to use the plugin Yoast or
Yeah.
or Yoast or like the all-in-one SEO to feature like the Google Sitemap XML. And sitemap.xml, it's good for Google search. It gets
Mhm.
picked up well by Google and gets you up to the first page. It's one of the key features, and which is one of the things what I like. What I like about WordPress is very Google friendly. You know, besides the sitemap, you could always add blogs and posts and pages that work well with Google. So it kind of accumulates. And now with the Google that plugin they released about a couple of months ago, maybe a year ago. Uh, Google Sitekit, very good
Yeah.
plugin. I highly recommend it because it works well with Google and WordPress. Another feature with this WordPress update, 5.5, is the security. This this WordPress core, you're able to update your plugins and themes automatically. Tell us a little bit about that feature, Justin.
So basically, the auto update features is also a very interesting feature. So basically, most of the features that land in WordPress 5.5 are very interesting. And the auto updates, basically, the idea is being able for a singular plugin or a singular theme, being able to enable auto updates for them. So, for instance, I have something like 5 or 6 plugins on my website, and there are some plugins that I trust. Like I trust the developer of the plugin. I know that they release new version regularly. They have great support. I can decide to enable auto update for this particular plugin. And then every time that the developer ship a new version, I won't have to do it like manually, go to my WordPress dashboard and update manually the plugin, but it will be doing it very, let's say, automatically. That's the point of the feature. And it works the same way for the teams. So I have a team like default team. So for instance, on my personal website, I've enabled the auto update feature for default team like 2020 or 2019, stuff like that. And yeah. And I would say that the feature is also very close to my heart because one of the people who really work on it. So as all of the feature that ship, there were a lot of people, a lot of volunteers and contributors that dedicate time to it. But for this particular feature, one of the people that, let's say, lead the feature is someone from the French WordPress community that I know and that I really that's I mean, this person really inspired me, and I've been very happy to see the auto update feature land in WordPress core. So yeah.
Yeah, this is a very important feature because a lot of WordPress websites, a lot of the users or the owners of those sites don't update their plugins or their themes. They typically wait it out, maybe for weeks, months, or even years. But when they make this update, this will help out like their website because things will run functionally well. Because if you don't update your plugin, it could potentially crash your website.
Yeah, definitely. Like security issues, and for instance, in the past months, some very big plugins as Elementor had some security issues. And if this feature was like enabled at that time, people who have this enable, I mean, people who have auto update enabled for Elementor would have get the patch directly with the new version and won't have to do it like manually. But definitely, this is very nice feature, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that it will be very helpful to many users.
Also, another part of the update is the lazy loading images that the website's pages will load faster. Tell us about that feature that you guys included.
So basically, the lazy loading, the idea is that when I load my website first, the images that are not visible at that time won't load. And it's just when I've been scrolling the page and reach the point of these images that they will start loading. And it's very important because for websites that deal with a lot of pictures or pages that load a lot of picture, all these pictures don't have to load at the first time and then slow the user experience. So right now by default with WordPress 5.5, lazy loading is enabled on images. So even if you are not using an optimization plugin, because by the past, most of the optimization plugins have this feature enabled. So right now, even if you are not using it, you can have this feature, the lazy loading of images. And yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very important because a lot of websites, one of the main issues that it loads slower is the images. That's probably the main
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It's not the, you could have a million texts in
yeah,
your page, but that could load fast, like nothing.
yeah,
Is the
yeah, yeah,
images, and and there's some users that put like 4,000 pixels of images in their website, which is not necessary. It's great
yeah.
quality, but it's gonna take a minute to load. So this is gonna be
Mhm.
very significant, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it will be very nice for. I'm particularly thinking to websites that don't have a system to optimize images like plugins, like optimization plugins. I think it will be very useful for them, and I hope that when someone in this case will upgrade to WordPress 5.5, they will notice a major change in the loading time of the website. And yeah, it's very exciting, to be
This is
honest.
huge because what I'm seeing that WordPress is definitely covering like their holes a little bit, the helping out like the user make the word like the website uh much better, high improvement,
Yeah.
searchable, like the page load. Those are key components to have a successful website. And another feature that you guys added, well, not added, but enhanced, it's probably the right word, is block editor. There's new block patterns, inline image editing, and new block directory. Justin, tell us a little bit about that update.
So I would say that Gutenberg and the block editor is one of the part of WordPress core that move very fast. So between two version or two major version of WordPress, there are many Gutenberg that are released, many version of Gutenberg that are released, and the let's say the global idea with Gutenberg right now is to go to a point where we'll be able to edit the full site without having to, yeah, the current process. So you'll be able with Gutenberg to edit the header, the footer, the sidebar, and stuff like that. And I think that the block directory that now shipped with WordPress 5.5 and block patterns are a great way to reach this point. So basically, what the block directory enable is just a sidebar inside the editor that you can open by clicking on the button, and then you will see the default blocks that are in Gutenberg. So paragraphs, codes, female, YouTube, and stuff like that. But you will also be able to search for a blog. For instance, if I'm looking for a testimonial blog in my post, this is not a blog that is enabled by default in WordPress. So you'll see a list of plugins that have testimonial blocks and have add them to the block directory. So we'll be able to activate this particular block with one click, and then you can just like click on the block and it appears on your editing page. So yeah, this is very huge. Being able to search for a block from the inside the editor with one click, activate it and put it inside the page. This is very huge. And aside from the block directory, you also have the block patterns. So basically, the block patterns are preset structure, like two column with text, two column with text and image and buttons that are already coded into WordPress core and that you can add with one click. It's something like template or template paths or stuff like that.
Yeah,
And yeah,
no, yeah, that's very encouraging. I know that WordPress has put a lot of weight in the block editor. I've been liking it ever so often. Every update's becoming way better. I see more features with it. How has the response been with developers with the block editor?
so you mean when it was like launched back
Yeah.
in
Have you
2018?
seen? Have been you've been seeing more like more features from developers adding on to the block editor? I mean, what I meant was uh plugin developers itself. Like, have you been seeing more plugins getting into the block editor and adding more features to it?
Sure. Because right now there are very great plugins that propose like a huge variety of blogs, like really nice blogs. And yeah, because the idea with Gutenberg is to build like a base on which plugin developer can work on and build like amazing stuff. So basically, Gutenberg builds the foundation, and then plugins developers can hook on them and yeah, build stuff. So right now there are many block like specific block editor plugins. Like basically right now, whenever I want to use like a website with the block editor, because all of the blocks that I may be willing to use are not enabled by default. Yeah, I'll just go and search for one or two plugins that I know and that I use like regularly, and then have all my feature enabled. And yeah, I think it's a very huge opportunity for the plugin ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. The block editor has created a new niche in the WordPress core, not just plugins, but also in widgets, but now the block editor. So we'll see a new feature of that. I've been seeing more users using it. Of course, when it first came out, it was like a big 180 turn, but I've been seeing more people just growing on it, and I know that the WordPress people have been trying to put more a whole lot of energy towards it. I know they want to get into like the whole design part, something like Divi or like Elementor, that type of feel to it. But of course, it's a work in progress, which is what I like about WordPress. They don't rush things when they make changes. They do it gradually to make sure
Yeah.
that final product is just 100% perfect. So that's something that I like about you guys. Another thing is the developer side. I know a little bit more technical for a lot of people. I know that you guys updated the PHP mailer library, the REST API, a little bit update on
Yeah.
that. Tell us a little bit about it and what should
Awesome.
you expect? What changes were made so it'll make a little bit easier for the web developers out there.
So I'll say that the developer focus feature that I really love for 5.5 is the possibility to pass variables to get template parts. So I think this is really huge because this is a feature that people have been expecting for years, and people have been requesting it for years. And when now it's just possible to do it, and when you just like take some time and think about what it could enable as possibilities, you just see how powerful it's gonna be. And honestly, I'm really excited about it, and I'm really hoping to see more and more team developer using it to, yeah, enhance how I mean how WordPress team work till now. And yeah,
Yeah,
so there have been also a lot of like developer focus changes, like some change with how people localize JavaScript variables, and yeah, as we said, the REST API. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff.
yeah. The PHP mailer is pretty much like the one that sticks out for me because I know I've had issues not with PHP mailer itself, but with the hosting companies. Sometimes I had to add a plugin to do like an SMT send out for the email thing. So hopefully that improves. I know that I mean, I personally work with Contact Form 7, and I know they use the PHP mailer. You probably use Contact Form 7, don't you?
Yeah, yeah,
Who
yeah.
doesn't, right?
It's the first contact form plugin that I use. So
Yeah, as the first one, I know some people jump into Ninja or to Gravity Forms, but you know something? I can see this happening where WordPress acquires Contact Form 7, but I won't ask for your opinion on that. So we'll see what happens in the future updates. Justin, can you tell us the next update? Which I know that 5.5 came out this week, but point 6, when do you think it will happen? I mean, what will happen and when do you think it will come out?
So right now there's still like open discussions about what would be included in 5.6. And recently a blog post has been published on Maker blog, like the wish list for 5.6. And yeah, a lot of people has put suggestion, and WP Tavern also writes like a blog post with suggestion for what could be included. What I see from my side is like more and more work in refining the way the block editor work, and yeah, getting more and more closer to full seat editing. So that's what I see from here for 5.6. But yeah, I can say that it's gonna be very exciting. And
Every update is exciting. I
yeah,
know that with WordPress it's open source, but also when it comes to making that next update, it's open discussion, and that's
yeah,
something that
yeah,
WordPress keeps like that mission statement going when it comes to anything with
yeah.
WordPress. So
And
looking
something
forward to
interesting,
5.6. What was that?
something Oh, I was just willing to say that something very interesting that will happen with 5.6 is that the release squad will be a all-women release squad. So that will be the first time that this is happening in WordPress Core, and yeah, also very like great new. And
Yeah. When do you think that will be released? Is it like around like December? Is that like the next update?
mhm,
I've heard.
yeah, yeah. So it's the targeted that like it's around December 2020, and yeah.
Interesting. And during the pandemic, it did not slow down. I remember I was talking to David Bonfield back in April, and he said August, and the pandemic hasn't slowed you guys down.
So that's what's wonderful with a distributed. So I see like WordPress core or other WordPress contributors as a very big distributed team around the world. So we have been working asynchronously for years, and it works really well. And yeah, for my part, I didn't see something like things slow down during the pandemic, and it's
Nothing
pretty
slows down
cool.
with
It's pretty
WordPress. They
cool.
keep going.
That's
It's
what's beautiful
digital,
with
and I'm
open
very
source
thankful
and
for it because
WordPress.
this update 5.5 with the sitemap, I'm telling you guys, this is huge. But
Yeah.
it's interesting because I was seeing a comment that the sitemap is limited to like a real sitemap. Is that something that you've heard, or this is like a regular sitemap.xml?
So so this, I would say that this a first iteration,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it include like the basic features that a sitemap need to have, but then like SEO plugins can either decide to work on this sitemap, enhance it, or disable it to use the. I mean, there's like plugins like rank map or use SEO or SEO press. They disable the default WordPress sitemap, and use theirs. And there's also something that's in the philosophy of WordPress is what we call like plugin territory. So there are some features that maybe are best or are really suitable to be handled by plugin instead of core. So I'm seeing that sitemap will grow. The default sitemap will grow, but it will fit in what I say core territory instead of going beyond. But as I say, it's definitively a first iteration and it will still be refining with release coming. So yeah.
Should be pretty exciting. Of course, sitemap.xml, a little of a developer techie term right there, but it's huge. When you search Google, that website, if it's in that first page, you're using sitemap.xml and WordPress has it automatically. But if you don't have 5.5 yet and you have a WordPress site, when you go to your dashboard, it will prompt you to update. And I recommend it to update if you haven't done it in the last 4 years. So it's,
Yeah, definitely.
you
But
need
you
to
should
update
take care if you have to update for 4 years. I mean, you should do it like taking
promptly.
care, yeah, making sure to back up and stuff like that.
So can you tell us how has WordPress flourished in Africa? Is it a popular CMS over there, or is it still growing?
So I'll say that is already very popular
Mhm.
and it's still growing. Like in so I've been like in the WordPress sphere in Africa for maybe 4 years now, and I've noticed an increasing. I mean, I noticed the interest for it have been increasing in different countries. Like I see a lot of meetups that started and a lot of like word camps that happen on the continent. A lot of people that are more and more interested in knowing more about WordPress and how they can use it for the activities or for the business. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think it's definitely growing and it will keep growing.
What is the biggest WordCamp in Africa?
So I think it should be like Chobu. What camp Johannesburg?
Johannesburg,
I've
yeah,
never,
Joburg.
yeah, I never attended it, but yeah, I think it's maybe the biggest. Yeah, probably. But there's also WordCamp Lagos that has a very strong community and has a background of consistency in uh, like keeping hosting meetup and doing the WordCamps. Yeah.
Has there been a WordCamp in your country of Benin?
So no, we don't have like we didn't have a WordCamp in the past, and we do have a unofficial WordPress community hosting some meetups, and yeah, I hope in the next years we'll have like WordCamp Benin. Honestly, that would be very amazing for me.
That'd be awesome, and I will not be surprised if you organize it.
So to I'm one of the organizer of the local meetup, so yeah.
I'm I'm sure you'll be asked to, but this is awesome, Justin, all the way from Benin. So, Justin, tell us how can people reach you and contact you to talk about WordPress 5.5.
So I'm more active on Twitter. So I mean my handle is Justin Ahinon one, like in one word. And yeah, I reply pretty quickly on Twitter. Or if it's someone, I mean, if you are in WordPress core Slack or WordPress Slack, you can just ping me on Justin Aino, like also in one word. And yeah, I'll be happy to talk with you guys. And
Yes, you could reach him on Twitter, Justin Anahan1. You can see it in our show notes, and you could definitely contact there. He's very responsive. I contacted him yesterday and replied really quick on Twitter and Slack. And join the Slack channels if you're interested in getting involved with the WordPress core. WordPress is open to that, and you can get involved through the Slack channel. Slack is free and very open. And let me give you the Slack address because I have it somewhere, but I'll definitely leave that in the show notes, and you can definitely read a lot more into it. And if you're If you're a person that's interested in WordPress or just getting along, or maybe you're in WordPress.com and you want to start your own WordPress hosted website, self-hosted, check out WordPress.org and they'll definitely guide you into it. I got into WordPress about over 10 years ago. It has driven my business. I love it. I use it for everything, for podcasting, for blogs, articles. It's been a huge blessing, and I'm really glad to see more updates. And Justin, any closing words before we part ways?
So what I can say now is like, if there are people that are interested in contributing to WordPress, because contributing to WordPress is something that's really close to my heart. And so if there are people that are willing to learn how to contribute or want to start to contribute, they just have to go on the official make.wordpress.org website, where everything about contribution happen. Then you see the different teams, and yeah, just jump in what you are interested in, and yeah,
Jump in,
start
give us
making
some
it.
ideas. You might want to have a
Yeah,
balloon that which will appear when you enter WordPress dashboard. Hey, they
yeah,
could add that in the future. Who knows?
yeah.
You can ask some suggestions that could change the world. And I know WordPress is.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was like saying that there are like very several ways to contribute. It can be like design, documentation, translation. I mean, I'm pretty sure that whatever you are doing, if you go to WordPress, make.wordpress.org, you'll find a team that will fit you and you'll be happy to contribute to.
There's always a fit somewhere in WordPress.
Hmm.
Anyways, you could definitely reach me at Sleon at SLEON or at sleonproductions.com. I use WordPress. Probably 60-80% of my business is WordPress. I love it. I mean, I'm involved with WordCamp Miami, WordPress meetups locally. It's a good avenue to learn more about technology. I mean, WordPress is not just about the CMS. You learn a lot of different things. WordPress is connected to SEO, is connected to marketing, design, blogging, content
Yeah.
creation, even podcasting. That is definitely growing within the core itself. Justin Ahinon, thanks for coming on to the Sleon Productions podcast.
Thanks for having me.